Hey, what up? Welcome back to Free Blues Boxings Live. We have Adrian Broner next weekend, February 20th. We have Adrian Broner next weekend, February 20th, facing some guy named Santiago. We're just going to have to see how that pans out. I think Adrian Broner has a lot of potential. And if he wins this fight, then he will set up mega fights with potential junior welterweights. Josh Taylor, or he could fight Regis Prograis. So we just got to see about that. No, I never seen the other guy fight. Um, yeah, but then again, I don't want to call him a plumber or a PE teacher or a cab driver because Adrian Broner said that this guy isn't a, he didn't want to he didn't want to fight anybody. He didn't want to fight anybody. He wanted to fight someone tough. He didn't want to fight someone that he could just knock out. So, and Adrian Broner's he's always been the kind of guy that'll fight anybody. So I don't want to put Santiago in a category where he's a nobody. I like to think I know he's going to be tough. I know he's going to be tough, but I never heard of him. Never heard of him. Hopefully he's good. But if he beats Adrian Broner, then it will send the boxing world a notice that, hey, look at me. The best at 140 right now. I'm going to just go off resume. I'm not going to go off talent. I think I would argue Adrian Broner or Regis Prograis is the most talented. Um, Regis Prograis lost to Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor has pretty much all the belts at 140 except for one other belt that he's about to fight for. But Josh Taylor is the best at 140 right now. Josh Taylor is the best at 140 talent wise. If Adrian Broner could stop caddying and betting against himself to win, I hope I'm saying that right. If Adrian Broner lets his hands go, he could be, one of the nicest boxers again. But my guy's just a little bit conflicted with the drinking habits. He's conflicted with his celebrity lifestyle, outside distractions. Outside of the ring, he cannot stay focused when he's fighting. Um, he knows how to lock in on camps, but he doesn't know how to stay focused year round. Um, you know, I can't really believe Adrian Broner is one of those guys where you can't believe him until you see the performance in the ring. He's one of those guys where you can't believe him until you see one of his performances in the ring. So, Adrian Broner, he could lose so many times, and then when it gets to a big fight, and then I mean, I'm doing this for the hood. He's showing that he's in the gym every day. His training regimen, his training regimen looks good. He looks focused. He's talking a good game. He's talking a good game. then he gets into the ring and he doesn't throw punches. So, no, this fight is not going to be a pay-per-view fight. This is just going to be a regular Showtime fight. Showtime. Regular Showtime fight. I'm sorry. Regular Showtime fight with no fans. So it won't be like a Gervonta Tank Davis fight against Leo Santa Cruz, where it's going to be in the South. It's not going to be a fight where it's going to be in the South and it has social distance fans. This is going to be a regular virtual TV fight, and fans are just going to have to catch it on there. Adrian Broner is a 4-time world champion, so he does have respect in the boxing world as far as, yeah, people are going to talk a lot of trash about him, but people will go watch Adrian Broner next weekend. So, but Adrian Broner has to make sure he not loses, because if he loses, no, it's okay if he loses. No, it's not okay. It's not okay if he loses. It's always good to win. That way he can keep his stock up. But Adrian Broner is known to lose and then get his first pay-per-view fight. Yeah. His only pay-per-view fight was against Manny Pacquiao 2 years ago. It just hit its 2-year anniversary. January 2019. That was Adrian Broner's last fight, and it was his first pay-per-view fight against Manny Pacquiao. I was at that fight. Adrian Broner wasn't throwing any punches. It was a terrible performance on his end. An exciting performance for Manny Pacquiao. So if you're a Manny Pacquiao fan, you were excited. I've always been a fan of Adrian Broner. He's always been one of my favorite fighters, but he's one of those fighters where he takes his talent and doesn't display it on a huge platform that Al Heyman and PVC Showtime have gave him. He likes to go in and spar, meaning he likes to go in and practice and play defense. He likes to go in, practice, and play defense. I want to see Adrian Broner at the top, but if he lets his hands go, if he has an offense, if he's an offensive fighter, then he will send the boxing world on notice. And it starts with this fight. If he's able to come in here and knock out this guy, or he needs to knock him out. But if he doesn't, he needs to put on a spectacular performance. He's got to put on a spectacular performance, or his stock goes down, because after that Manny Pacquiao fight, he hasn't gotten a pay-per-view fight. He wasn't active all of 2020. So this is going to, and then also this fight is at 140. It won't be at 147. This is junior welterweight. If he wants to get a belt, he's going to have to knock out this guy, Santiago, and send a message to the junior welterweight division, including Regis Prograis, who had just lost to Josh Taylor last year. Regis Prograis was also on Gervonta Tank Davis' card. He knocked out some guy. But I was just telling my homeboy, don't be surprised if Adrian Broner finesses another belt, whether it's at junior. It's going to have to be at 140, because he's already seeing what's going on at 135 with his little brother, Gervonta Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia, Teofimo Lopez, and Devin Haney. All of those guys have belts. So Gervonta Tank Davis, Adrian the problem Broner, is going to have to put in some work at 140 He cannot go back down to 135 unless it's for the money and he's fighting, I don't know, somebody who lost like Lomachenko. But those are two different platforms. Um, Adrian Broner needs to knock out this guy Santiago, and yeah, and to get another belt, he needs to, he needs to fight Josh Taylor. And if he beats Josh Taylor, if Adrian Broner were to beat a fighter like Josh Taylor, who has a lot of belts at the junior welterweight division, if he beats that fighter and he possesses like 3 belts, he's pretty much undisputed. If you were to beat a guy like Josh Taylor, which he's very capable of, Josh Taylor's a great fighter from Europe. If Adrian Broner is able to fight him and knock him out, Adrian Broner will be the face of boxing. He will be the face of boxing if you were to fight a guy like Josh Taylor and beat him. And that's when you got to look at Adrian Broner like, look, Adrian Broner is the #1 finesser of all time. I mean, we didn't see Adrian Broner almost commit suicide. You didn't see Adrian Broner um, have drinking addictions. You know what I mean? Literally fall off from the sport. Focus on rapping. And he did do numbers on rapping, whether he was good or not. So that's an accomplishment. We didn't see him gamble. We didn't see him go videos of him in court, um, pleading his side to the judge. We didn't see Adrian Broner lose his belts. We didn't see Adrian Broner lose 4 times, all 4 huge fights. To Sean Porter, he's lost to Sean Porter. Uh, who he, Sean Porter gave Errol Spence Jr. Errol's toughest fight at welterweight. Lost to Sean Porter, I want to say back in like 2014. He's lost to Mikey Garcia, which I was really, really mad about because that's a fighter that you should beat. Lost to Mike Garcia, obviously lost to Maidana. Maidana was his first loss. And it was just that he jumped 2 weight classes from 135 to 147. He jumped up 2 weight classes to fight the dog, the boogeyman of the division, which was Marcos, the Argentinian warrior, Marcos Maidana, who is a legend in the sport, a heavy hitter. That was the only time Adrian Broner was dropped. That's the only time Adrian Broner was dropped to the canvas on his career by some overhand rights by Marcos Maidana. He's definitely a heavy hitter. No Gervonta Tank Davis. He's definitely a heavy hitter. Oh yeah, no, I've been saying that ever since he lost to Mikey Garcia, which was about, I want to say 2018, the previous year from fighting Manny Pacquiao. After he lost to Mikey Garcia, I was like, okay, Adrian Broner is a cat and he needs to stop boxing because um, boxing is very political. So it's not just like basketball where you lose and get trolled. In boxing, you have a whole backing, you have a whole community. And Adrian Broner is just up there looking like um, he's just up there doing clownery things in and outside the ring. It makes the community look bad. So if you're not going to take boxing serious, like a Sugar Ray Leonard, like a Muhammad Ali, like a lot of current fighters do, then you should stop making. Because you know what I mean. The money, all money's not good money. So if you got to go up there and look like a clown and make yourself look like a fool in front of the whole world, I mean, is it really worth it? Um, Especially, you know what I mean. You get on platforms to talk about, you got the whole hood behind you, but really that's deeper than what you're just saying. It's way deeper than that, and you got people counting on you. You have the day one supporters and day one fans who really want to see you win, and take boxing serious. So Yeah. There's after the Mike Garcia fight, I was like, look, AB needs to stop boxing. You know what I mean? He's already accomplished a lot. The only reason why I would want him to keep boxing is because he, number one, he hasn't taken much punishment. Uh, that's a huge thing, and that's a reason why a lot of boxers, even at the age of 31, he hasn't taken a lot of punishment. So that's very good. And then number two is all he really has to do is just let, like, he's such a cat. All he really got to do is just let his hands go. So if he lets his hands go, because he already has decent defense. He has all right defense, pretty good actually, pretty underrated defense. So those are the two reasons why. Oh yeah, so there's more money to be made. Um, I mean, honestly, before Adrian Broner's career is over, I mean, he's only 31. He can honestly, if they market him right and they set up huge fights, and obviously other fighters have to agree, then he can honestly milk out at least 4 to 5 more pay-per-view fights. So from a promoter's perspective, they love Adrian Broner. They want Adrian Broner to keep his flashy lifestyle. They want him to keep being him. Right. Yeah, I agree. And most people look at Broner like, you know what I mean? Mayweather was the best, obviously. Mayweather was able to talk his crap and back it up and keep making more money and keep making the trolls mad over and over and over and over and over again. Broner Broner made it pretty far doing it, but he didn't make it that far. He didn't make it as far as Mayweather did. So Mayweather is like, I don't know. I got to look up the stats, but he's at least a 10 to 15 time world champion. Broner's a 4-time world champion. So, um, and you see what happened when you lose. You messed up, like, you know what I mean? Broner, he lost. He messed up his focus. Um, he messed up his cheese. He would be making more cheese if he was still undefeated. He would still be at a higher weight class. But the excuses that, these guys are too. Broner said these guys are too big. So that just let him. But he's as big as those guys. He doesn't let his hands go, or he doesn't know how to stay focused. He doesn't know how to stay focused. He doesn't know how to let his hands go. So, but yeah, I mean, when Broner retires, comedy is there. Movies, there's sponsors like Broner is straight for life. Broner does not, you know what I mean, just based on his character and how he markets himself. He's not as dumb as people think. Like, you know what I mean? He knows how to stay engaged in the media and with fans. Like, he will always be relevant. He will always be like, he's hilarious. But as far as boxing, um, and he knows this too. That's what really like is irritating and makes him a J cat. Is he knows how serious boxing is, and still, um, at times, he's ignorant to the fact. What he does good is that he focuses in a 3 month camp, I don't know, a 9 week camp. He knows how to focus, but when you're not boxing, you still have to keep running. You still have to be in the gym. You can't just only be in the gym for 3 months, for the camp, because there are fighters who are training all year long to be, what I mean, ready. You're supposed to be fight ready in the beginning of camp. How are you gonna be fight ready after 3 months and just, um, a few times sparring in those 3 months? Maybe you're sparring a lot, but hard work shows, and it pays off. So athletes that are in the gym all year long, you could talk about any of them. Gervonta Tank Davis has become pretty lucky. He's very talented, and he's still very young. Javon, Tank is only like, he'll be turning 27 this year. So, um, that's when Broner lost to Maidana when he was 27 and not staying focused. But like I said, what Broner did wrong was he tried to jump up two weight. He tried to be like Floyd. Floyd's the only fighter um, who really was able to jump up multiple weight classes and beat the best fighters. Um, Floyd was the only fighter we've seen that dramatically done that. Broner, we'll just have to see. I'm sorry for Tank. We'll just have to see. I honestly think that he could beat anybody from 140, from 130 to 147. But I'm not tripping about Tank Davis being focused. I mean, he doesn't try to rap like Broner. Broner was a special case where he's trying to rap. He has a drinking addiction. You don't see that and they're all close. Errol Spence Jr., Adrian Broner, Tank Davis. Uh, but Broner was probably the most wild, most successful boxer we've ever seen. Broner was one of the most. Um, I mean, like Broner was Tank was what Tank is. So Tank is now a 3 or 4 time world champion. Um, my guess is that Tank is going to keep winning. Uh, I mean, even Broner had a lot of power, but Tank has some power that we have never seen before at those lower weight classes, along with the boxing skills. The Adrian Broner had boxing skills, quickness, footwork, full package. No, they're brothers. They're brothers. Tank and Adrian Broner would never fight. They would never fight. Um, they've trained together. I didn't see Tank. I didn't see Tank and Adrian Broner in a. I didn't see Tank and Adrian Broner in a whole training camp. And Adrian Broner is cracking jokes. Adrian Broner is not as fast as Tank, but Tank is. Matter of fact, Adrian Broner would tell jokes in the camera, and Tank would just be ducked off in the back, just working. Adrian Broner would crack jokes. Tank wouldn't even laugh. Just super focused, like dead focus. So that's when I knew, like, okay, because people were skeptical. I was too. Like, can Tank focus up? Can Tank focus up with AB around? Like, this is terrible. Like, people were like, no, Tank can stay to get away from Broner. You know what I mean? But Tank, nah. Tank went in. I forgot who he fought, but he knocked that guy out and didn't get touched. So that's when I knew, like, okay, it doesn't matter. Like, Tank can be around Adrian Broner. He could be around all this money and this fame. But when it gets into the ring, Tank is going to handle business. Um, the only thing I see with Tank is that um, he likes to blow up after fights. Like he likes to get really big in size. But I noticed since after fighting Leo Santa Cruz, I noticed after fighting Leo Santa Cruz just this last October, Tank has been in the gym and he sees how lucrative um, he must see how lucrative, this boxing industry is. With staying focused and getting these huge mega fights, these pay-per-view fights. And I mean, Tank is a household name. And at one point, Adrian Broner was a household name. So Adrian Broner just has to get back over that hump. He has to get back over that hump and get back focused and look good against this guy, Santiago, next weekend. Um, I hope he can do what it do. Hope he can do what it do. But he's got to stop drinking. It like if he knocks out this guy Santiago, the off season when he's not fighting, he needs to stay in the gym And he might, if he looks spectacular at this performance, he might get a pay-per-view fight with the Regis Prograis. And they've been teasing about that fight, going at it with each other in the media. So yeah, Tank is trying to stay more fit now. His mentors, he's got Coach Calvin, his coach out of not Detroit, Baltimore, who is definitely doing a good job of keeping Tank focused, keeping him in the gym. If you watch any all access clips, he is on Tank's helmet and making sure that he's getting the most out of his workouts. He spars with Tank. How many trainers have you seen actually get in the ring and spar with their fighters? Um, Most importantly, he has Floyd. He has Floyd Mayweather in his corner as well. His promoter Floyd TMT. Floyd is the greatest fighter of all time. Who comes in and trains with Tank on the mitts. He trains with Tank on the mitts. Tank is Floyd Mayweather's asset, and they will make sure that Tank is in the best position. They will make sure he's focused. They will make sure he makes weight. Most importantly, they'll make sure he makes weight. They'll make because Tank has before gotten his belt stripped from coming to the weigh-in overweight. So and that's all the trolls can tease Tank about. It's not making weight. Um they can't tease him about what he's capable of in the ring, because Tank is gonna get the knockout and perform in spectacular fashion. So Adrian but Tank did a good job with the last fight of making 130 pounds. This is the same Tank and Adrian Broner does as well. They blow up to about 180. They blow up to about 180 pounds. I'm 6'3", and I'm 170, or maybe late 60s, late 160s. Um, you got these guys who are 5'5", 5'4", 5'6", who blow up to 180 pounds, meaning they're happy. You know, I mean, they're hungry. They're eating burgers. So they just got to take it serious. But yeah, that will be it for Free Blues Boxing Live. I'll be posting a couple times a week, few times a week at the most. Please hit the like, subscribe, and the notification bell on the videos, and also comment. Um, that'll let me know to keep posting unlimited boxing content, knowledge, wisdom, and experience. Um, until next time, I'll be going live a couple times throughout the week, and we'll be keeping you guys posted on new videos. So take care, peace, and love.